This is the Holy Bible for the use of Negro slave. This is the slave Bible. Okay, this is literally found in Washington as a museum as a slave Bible. So today's video discussion is going to be why are black people Christians and what were we before Christianity. Now, black people were not allowed to learn during slavery. If we did, we were killed. So why is it that the only thing the slaves were allowed to learn was this slave Bible? It's because Christianity is a slave religion. To prove this, go look up the Crusades. The Crusades killed billions of innocent people and genocided mass numbers of women and children who would not admit that Jesus is God. But where did this term Jesus is God come from? You have to go back to when those same barbarians had Christianity forced upon them by the Romans. The Romans, Council of Nicaea, actually created the statement that Jesus is God. Before that, Jesus was never known as God. Okay, so with that being said, at this time, the Council of Nicaea, where the term Jesus is God came from, they were actually in a debate, an argument over whether Jesus is God or Jesus just a messenger, an enlightened person teaching you how to be a Christ or a Buddha or a God on earth. That's why he said ye are gods. Also, the Old Testament says ye are gods. But to get back to that, at this time, Council of Nicaea was arguing with the Gnostic people. After they completed, basically all the presidents come together in the world and say, fuck it, Jesus is God. That's what the Council of Nicaea was. After they did that, they went around genociding everyone who was Gnostic, because if you look at the Gnostic scripts compared to, the Roman scripts, it's proof that not only the Gnostic Jesus existed way before the Christian Jesus, but these same Romans have a history of adopting stuff from other cultures and then genociding that culture after they whitewash it, basically. Now, the reason I mention this is because black people were not the Gnostics before they were forced into Christianity. The origination of Christianity was the barbarians and the Romans. Now, the enemy of the Romans were the Gnostic people. Okay? So, there was an argument about whether Jesus is God or not. And this is what was taken from black people. We knew that Jesus was not God. You know what I'm saying? So you go look up where the Rome got their religious ideology from before Council of Nicaea, because Constantine, the day before he died, he admitted that Jesus was Gnosticism and that basically he created some bullshit. So this is also documented. You go look up to Gnosticism. What is Gnosticism? I'll give you the exact definition. The exact definition from simple Wikipedia is Gnosticism comes from the Greek word gnosis, which means knowledge. That spirit is good and materialism is satanic. In order to get out of this material world, the satanic world, you have to in order to get to God, you need knowledge. Okay, the whole basis, a few Gnostic religions are Hellenism, Buddhism, and what you call the Coptic Christians of Egypt, the Ethiopians. All right. These all have all the same thing. It's about spirituality, activating the third eye, and becoming a God on earth. Simple as that. So, to prove my point that black people were never Christians, we already know the closest thing to Christianity is, I'm going to pull up for you. Okay, it says, ancient Egyptians give rise to one of the world's oldest Christian faiths. All right, these are what you call the Coptic Christians. You see it right here. All right, Egyptian Christianity developed its own distinct flavor shaped by the world's culture and history in ancient Egypt. This branch of Christianity would become a Coptic Orthodox church, and its followers would be known as Coptic Christians. All right. The Coptic Christians were persecuted by the Romans because the Romans basically stole their doctrine and then twisted it around and said Jesus is God, and then started killing everybody who didn't agree with them. The history of Christianity. Yes, Egypt, we already know, is an African place, and if anybody don't believe me and y'all want some more work on this shit, I'm gonna give y'all an African scholar, basically. and some Greek references. Okay, the first Greek reference. The Greek historian Diodorus Siculus said that Ethiopia, Osiris, they called, go look up, the Greeks called all Africans Ethiopians. Ethiopians Osiris passed through Arabia, through the Red Sea, and as far as India. The reason I say this is because India is the home of Buddhism. I'm finna get to you that Buddhism, that whole thing was the black man's original religion. Greeks Apollonius of Tyana said that Ethiopians are the colonists sent from India. Okay, so that means that they are very, very similar. Now let's go look up what this doctor said. Dr. Vulindela Wobogo said Buddha was an Egyptian priest that was historically portrayed with woolly hair. Buddhism and yoga are African Nubian practices, and the belief that one could obtain a god-like state if his soul was liberated from the body through knowledge. Boom. That just explained Gnosticism. And I just told you Buddhism is a Gnostic religion, okay? We also told you that the first, on National Geographic told you that the first ever Christian church came from Egypt. Now, we just told you what Egypt, the connection between Egypt, Buddhism, and Nubia, which is all African. Okay. Another thing, if you want to go look up, there's a book called Northern Gods of Buddhism. Refers to the oldest form of Buddhism, which is Sambo. All right, go look up what Sambo is. A nigga. Sambo is the darkest black man you will ever see that come to existence. But we gonna get into that because the blacker the berry, sweeter the juice. God made man in His image. The first man was a black man. So okay. With that being said, we also know that a lot of these religions were copied and went back and forth. But even the term Jesus, go look up where the story of Jesus, 3,000 years before the story of Jesus, was Horus or Heru. You feel me? So they have this from same exact story from mother was a virgin, 12 disciples, died and resurrected, baptized, transfigured on the mount, bro. All that, bro. All that. The shepherd, the God shepherd, all that. That's what they were. Okay, they have the same exact story, but the word Horus came from the word Heru. Heru came from Egypt, and then the Greeks infiltrated Egypt, created Horus. Horus, the mother and son, the Virgin Mother and Son, which became the Virgin Mary and baby Jesus. You feel me? With the Catholics. Okay, and the Romans. So I just wanted to point out a few facts that that have been referenced between the African nations or black people and Buddhism, because Buddhism is a Gnostic religion, like I say. Hellenistic. The Greeks in the Bible, they were Gnostics. Okay, so the whole purpose, and then Gnostic Jesus. Jesus was supposed to be a Gnostic. That's what the Gnostics believes. So basically, this was the black man's religion before he was forced into Christianity. Like I said, the people who created Christianity and forced it upon the rest of the world also persecuted the Gnostics who they stole their information from, and then forced Christianity back upon them. And if you go look up any ancient tradition, it's all about knowledge to get to a higher self. That's all black people's religion was. It was Gnosticism. So I don't want to hear no shit talking about black people are always Christians and we wrote the Bible and all of this shit. Because if you go look, okay, go look at the Bible, all right? Go look at Jesus. Go look at where the origins of Christianity's Jesus came from. It only existed in 300 AD. And you look at what happened before Christian Jesus, it was Gnostic Jesus, which is Buddha and Sambo and all of that extra shit. So I just broke that down to you. Hopefully you guys can go do your own research and prove to you and tell all the black people to get off this Christianity wave and get back on their original spirituality. Because if they don't, They just will not ever progress. All right, peace.